Welcome back to the Lore Reloaded. Maybe the last one for today. I hope not. I'm going to try to come back, but you never know. Check me out at twitter.tv/Lore Reloaded, as well as twitch.tv/Lore Reloaded. You know how the drill goes. You can watch me on Twitter or watch me on Twitch. I don't know. I'm horrible at promoting myself. I really am. So, this one came up from the last show that I was doing. I did a show earlier today. And if you haven't, go check it out. That where we discussed the short treks, and I got pretty irate. But an interesting question popped up when it came to First Contact, and it came to Zephyr Cochrane, and that entire piece. And I want to be kind of a discussion because I'm curious what you guys think about it. What's going on? Al Weifu, the one, the only. And I'd love your feedback on it because I know a lot of people are going to say that I am clickbaiting or just trying to make people mad or I don't know, trying to be like other YouTubers, I guess. But I really do think it's an interesting question when it comes to Zephyr Cochrane and specifically and how all those interactions occurred. I would be very, very curious on your opinion of it. Because when you take a look, Lily, if I remember the movie correctly, played a pretty interesting and important role in the creation of the warp drive, in the creation of everything that has to do with First Contact. And yet, we never hear about her. We don't even hear about her in series and episodes that come after First Contact. So, why isn't Lily brought up? This is something you would think would be pretty important, especially in a utopian Earth or a utopian Starfleet and Federation where they would celebrate how people of different stripes came together to create this thing. And if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, but I don't think it was just those two. They also had other people helping them as well. So what do you guys think about that? What are the... My volume is not very loud. Your volume is not very loud. It's the same volume I had beforehand. Let me know if I need to raise it. What are your guys' thoughts when it comes to that? Let me know right now. Also, let me know if the volume's pretty low, because if it is, I can adjust it. Let's see. Most of Earth didn't even believe First Contact really happened. It was considered a conspiracy theory for another 20 years in which most of Earth's population was still going in the post-atomic horror. Says Netpicking Nerd. He says the court that Q simulated was from the year 2079. So apparently most of Earth was still in the post-atomic horror period of chaos. Well, when did First Contact happen? So let's take a look. Star Trek, First Contact, Stardate. It happened April 5th, 2063, according to StarTrek.com. That's an interesting... Let me Star Trek post-atomic horror. The post-atomic horror occurred... Now, according to this, the post-atomic horror was after the end of the Third World War in 2053. In the mid-2050s, ordered the euthanasia of hundreds. The 2060s, Zephyr Cochrane lived and his team of engineers began developing the warp drive. However, the horror would still prevail for some years to come. That's interesting. I never thought of that. That's actually worth a video in and of itself. I didn't put those together. See, Nitpicking Nerd? That's why I have you here. You make me look good, buddy. That's what it's for. By the way, 34 people watching, only 2 likes. What's up? Don't be scared of it. Don't be scared of it at all, people. I'm a bit quiet. Everyone's been saying that. I don't think I'm quiet, but I'll... Is that any better? Does that make it better for you people? Is that good? Is this what you want? Lead scientist usually gets the plaudits on all scientific endeavors, you say. Well, within the U.S., do you think that would have went to Starfleet, though, in the Federation? Cochrane is Neil Armstrong. Aside from Buzz Aldrin, how many people landed on the moon can most people remember? It was 3 people that landed on the moon, wasn't it? I believe. And even if we accepted that, even if we accepted the Buzz part, which is fine. That's fair enough. Or Armstrong. I'm sorry. Even if we accepted the Armstrong part, which is fair enough that people do say that, a lot of people know Buzz. A lot of people are aware of him. The third person, nobody knows because nobody likes him. So, by 2079, the United Nations had ceased to exist. One such culture reverted to a state of near barbarism that followed the credo kill all the lawyers. Well, it was, I mean, honestly, they were doing God's work when you think of it. Well, I don't know what the video is about yet, says Rusty Raygun. Well, Rusty Raygun, we are here. By the way, it is always a pleasure to have someone who is kin to famous people. Rusty Raygun of the Rayguns, kind of like the Chris Raygun. I'm just going to assume that you guys are completely related. But we've gotten off topic. Do you guys think that it's fair to what happened? Now, why do I keep getting messages? Y'all need to stop trying to contact me. I'm just not feeling it. Let me turn this off. Hold on. Please stand by. All right, there we go. If you think of history's greatest discovery, the main character usually gets the credit, even though there were people behind the scenes. So I guess what I'm hearing you guys say is that it's okay that they forgot Lily, that it is consistent and we don't have to worry about it. Also, 12 people have walked. How many people have walked on the moon? A total of 12 astronauts have walked on the moon, including Armstrong and Aldrin. The other 10 who made it to the moon took part in 5 further NASA launches between 69 and 70. I, honest to God, never knew that. Yeah, you're right. We forget about everybody but the first one. To be fair, it wasn't just Christopher Columbus that would lead to the founding of the best nation on Earth, leaving the worst countries on Earth. So, so there you go. Fair enough. I guess Troy just didn't know history and or painted an optimistic version of the future to convince Zephyrin to cooperate. Maybe. In all honesty, I think the writers, and as you know, there have been many writers just forgot about the character. Yeah, to be fair, when you're looking at the writers themselves, they have to get so many, they have to do so much in an episode that you really just want to hit the high points. I can kind of understand that to a degree. Though I think they missed a perfect chance to really try to show that diversity and bring it in, making it both Zephram and Lily. I don't know. Wow, I don't think I've ever been turned around on that fast. I guess, yeah, I don't think it's necessarily, it's just the way we are. Though that's interesting that the human ability, the human tact for remembering just the first person or the lead scientist would also impact so many other cultures. Again, it happened on United Earth, though. So, good evening, and it was Pete Conrad who was third on the moon. Old son. Okay, I didn't know that. All the SJW preaching in every single one of your videos makes me unsub. Paylot, plunked, get out. Obviously, you don't watch any of my stuff, and if you're a troll, you're a really bad one. If you say you're a fan, then you're a liar. Obviously, you don't know how anything is, so please get out. Let me know. Hey, if I still see you or I see you around, I'll make sure you can never comment on my videos again. If you need help unsubscribing, let me know. I can show you. I'll walk you through it here on screen live. But yeah, get out. You're not wanted. You're not intelligent enough to be on this forum. So I'm sorry. I mean, it's not me, it's you. But, that's the way it is. Maybe Lily just built the cockpit and not the warp drive herself, and maybe wasn't even the co-pilot originally, since she suffered from radiation poisoning. I think, didn't it talk about Lily designing it as well? I could have swore that she had some dialogue in there, that she not only helped build it, but design it. I guess it would be fair if she had no real impact on how it was put together beyond just building it, that she wouldn't be mentioned in it. But I could have swore she was a part of how the thing actually works. Let's forget the fact that dilithium doesn't occur on Earth, so there's no way they could have went to warp drive. But yeah, we're just gonna keep that under. You have to wonder what would have happened if Riker and Geordi didn't steal two other people's place in history. The temporal operatives must have pitched a fit. Yeah, I think there was probably a lot of issues. Beyond the fact that they left all of the technology from the Borg there, among other things. And wasn't there a huge thing about... I seem to remember. What's up, buddy? You have some opinions? History in the Star Trek universe says Cochrane invented warp drive. Just look at Cochrane. He's an alcoholic. Even T'Pol and Dr. Coach was intoxicated most of the time. I don't know who Dr. Coach. Are you talking about Dr. Phlox? She only said she built the cockpit. It's possible she died in the original timeline from radiation poisoning. Okay. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. Lily helped design the ship, but not the engine. The engine was all Cochrane. Well, if the engine was all Cochrane, then I guess... I don't know. I think even if she designed the ship at this point, you guys have talked me into why they would only go with Zephram. But then there comes the question, why didn't they... I don't know. I honestly don't know the point of Lily in the movies either. I mean, I don't hate the character or anything. Does she add anything overall to First Contact? Will Lily ever get any love from Star Trek? And what did she do again? She was a part of it. Maybe a meteor containing dilithium crashed nearby. Here's this cat, his name's Pumpkin. Can you guess why? I didn't name him, by the way. The obvious answer to how they got dilithium was the fact that the Enterprise went back in time and was helping them fix it because it took damage. And I guess maybe they provided the dilithium, assuming that he would have found it some other way. There are some theories there. It is possible to obtain warp without dilithium. Yeah, and Nathan's about to say it, but and there's going to be a delay, so it makes it look like a Redis thing. But you can obtain warp without dilithium. It's just incredibly hard. The amount of power that you need was incredibly stupid. And it's arguable if a fusion reactor could get you to warp. That is some of the explanations for how some of the shuttles got to warp in the original series. But even fusion power is incredibly... it doesn't put out a lot when compared to what you need to go to warp. I don't know. You don't need dilithium to use a warp drive. As I said, it just makes it easier to manipulate the matter-antimatter flow in the ignition chamber. It's the power. Dilithium gives you an S-ton of power, though. We only remember Elon Musk, Edison, and Ford, not their engineers. That's fair enough. Maybe dilithium was discovered on Earth in the future. Now, my understanding is there was no dilithium. In fact, some of the dialogue, I want to say the original series, but I could be wrong, talked about how there was no dilithium on Earth. The Enterprise TV series, Scott Bakula's character father worked on the first Warp 5 engine and didn't mention him. Sure. Well, I mean, after you create the first warp drive, you can have people who perfected it, but the original creation of the warp drive, that you don't get. You can break the warp barrier, but not for very long. I mean, look at the Phoenix. It wasn't that far from Earth at the end of the short trip. Yeah, but that was on purpose. I don't know if that was due to limitations or because they were just trying to get the opportunity. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a causality loop where the only way they could go to warp was by getting dilithium. The only way they got dilithium is because the Enterprise was always meant to come back. Which, again, God bless it. Had to turn volume up on speakers to hear you. Guys, it's as loud. I don't know why it's doing that. Maybe turn the volume up. I have my volume maxed. There's literally no way that I can go louder. Let me check. Yeah, there's literally no way. I'm as loud can be, good friends. I was thinking a meteor explained how that, yeah, you mentioned that, but it explains it, but it doesn't, there's no evidence of it. In the Doctor Who universe, the Doctor does not interfere or change fixed points in time. Yes, First Contact is a fixed point in time, so Picard must have convinced Lily to let Cochrane take the credit. Maybe that's exactly what happened. Maybe. Oh, Lord. Yeah, someone was talking about my channel. I do give my opinions, but my opinions are diverse. If it's like all I ever hear is social justice warrior rhetoric. Well, you obviously do not watch my channel. That's what that means. That means you have no idea or understanding of what my channel's about. Anyway, so this was far less than I thought. I thought we'd be talking about it a lot more, but yeah, I guess it's fine. Do you guys think Lily should be mentioned at any point? So if there's no dialogue saying that she helped design it and that she just put the cockpit and everything together, that she was basically, she got the materials for him. She was his supplier, if you will. Do you think that there's any real need to mention her or that she should be brought up in the future? Also, no one ever really talked about this or answered me. What was her point in the entire movie? What value was her character adding? Wouldn't some be in our solar system, though? Regular space flight to Saturn or Jupiter? You really think Zefram Cochrane could have afforded to go to... This is during the atomic horror, as someone pointed out. Do we really think that Zefram Cochrane, really, the Zefram Cochrane, would be able to? 74 people watching, only 21 likes. Don't be scared of the like button. Don't be scared of it. The point from Impulse to Warp took a while, like it was building up power, whereas the Enterprise NX is in X-01 almost instantaneous. Plus, wasn't it a nuclear missile? Yeah, I mean, it was the casing of a nuclear missile. I don't know that they kept the contents in it. Pilote plunk, take it easy, bud. It's easy to trigger me when you say silly things. Crazy person in my family. What the fuck? Sup, Lore? What's up with you, buddy? What's up with you? Perhaps Lily was not a delicate snowflake and realized that Cochrane needed more credit as the warp core was his invention. Well, if she helped make it, then it wasn't his invention. If she did, then if she didn't, then it was his invention. If she did, then it wasn't his invention. Also, I don't think it's being a snowflake to say, hey, I am a part of making one of the greatest scientific inventions humanity has ever seen, as well as creating first contact. It's not a snowflake to say, hey, I played a part in that too. I'm sorry. Maybe that's me. Maybe I am an SJW snowflake, but wanting to be recognized for your contributions in changing the entire, not only outlook, but the entire way, the entire, I guess, future of Earth. I would personally want a little bit of credit if I helped out in that. I think she should be mentioned as a critical asset for the journey, like the King of Spain for Columbus. Yeah, I could see that. It's funny how in TNG's episode, A Matter of Time, Geordi said how amazing it would be to be Cochrane's co-pilot in his first flight. Then it turned out he was there with Riker. Yeah, I wonder if that was done on purpose. I doubt it. I doubt they had that much knowledge or information when it came to the first contact warp test. But it would have been cool if they did. Picard's film female partner, Guinan, Lily, Cougar Lady, and Denatra. Yeah, again, I don't think she had a lot. Do we know Henry Ford's assistants? Yes, SC. We know every one of Henry Ford's assistants. There is. There is no evidence that Lily was not recognized for her contribution. We don't have access to Federation history books. Yeah, but they don't bring it up either, Mariah. So even if the books bring it up, if they don't bring them up in the speeches, if they don't bring them up in discussion among people, I think that's kind of telling. Don't you? Bit late, but here. Great all, and like 38 give. Well, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Love. Thank you. Oppenheimer was not an army for one of the Manhattan Projects. Oppenheimer was not an army of one for the Manhattan Project, but we only remember a few of the scientists. Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't know a lot of the Manhattan Project scientists. I don't think I know any of them. She gave him all the credit, and I believe she went back with the Enterprise crew, and I believe it was meant to be a spinoff. That's exactly what happened. You nailed it. I wouldn't call Laura Snowflake. I've watched many of your videos, and I have to see you foam at the mouth at minor things. I have yet to see. You can trigger me. It is possible. And there are silly things that trigger me. I have to catch myself. So let's talk. If you guys want to talk about that, we can. The problem with our Honestly, this is a cultural thing. I think some of the comments I'm seeing is a cultural reflection. Why do we always get on this? Why do we always get on this? Uh wow, SC. SC. By the way, for those who don't know, SC is a huge fan of Ketwalski. It's one of the biggest ventriloquist acts that I've ever seen. You can't even see Ketwalski's mouth move or his hand when SC is here. He is so far into Discovery, it is unrealistic. And SC, the bastion of progressivism, is calling Lily an assistant. Is it because of the color of her skin, SC? Let's talk about that. So, some of the comments I'm seeing that are completely opposite to SC is that, why are we trying to be progressive or SJW or whatever? I don't think it's unreasonable to sit down and talk about social or cultural aspects in that time. I don't. The fact that if you want to bring up something that may or may not have been an injustice, even in fiction, you get called a social justice warrior for it is just so sad, in my opinion. I think that if Lily did help design it and she wasn't brought up in the history books or she's not brought up after, saying, hey, let's discuss that. Let's see if that was inappropriate, or let's see if there was something missed here, or there was whitewashing. That you can do that and not be this huge progressive. I hate that about our culture. I honest to God do. SC, Laura Reloaded is just jelly that I'm his side piece instead. Well, I am jealous that I'm not your focus. Ask any of my female friends. I require being the center of attention. Lily basically took on the role of Guinan as Picard's wise advisor. She wasn't a wise advisor, though. She wasn't wise at all. She pointed out that he had PTSD, which was fantastic. He really needed to be made aware of that. But beyond that, she wasn't. Everybody else carried the stupid stick on that too. He is showing post-traumatic stress syndrome. He is about to not only lose the Enterprise, but he is going to lose Earth. Once the Enterprise is assimilated, then Earth is next. It's game over for humanity and the Federation. And so you're telling me when Picard went off on Beverly doesn't sit back and say, wow, this is incredibly stupid. As a medical professional, she doesn't recognize post-traumatic stress syndrome. She doesn't recognize that he is not fit for duty. Everybody had to hold the stupid stick so that Lily could call it out. That was the only thing she added to it, but again, you had to make everyone else stupid to do so. Beyond that, I don't think she added a ton. Not that she couldn't have. I just don't see that she did. She wasn't even a good point of view character. Usually you have a fish out of water, a point of view character, so that they learn what you learn. So I don't see her point. I mean, you could have made it with a point, but I don't. People get lost in history all the time, only to have their contribution recognized later on. Tequin Roberts, who helped make NASA what it is today, he's not mentioned a lot. Sure, I'd agree. Max Matthews says volumes. I don't know what that means. I like your objective analysis of Star Trek, pointing the faults of the Federation, showing that they're just people, not perfect. Yeah, people get confused about that too. A lot of people think I hate Star Trek or Starfleet. I just really enjoy analyzing them, and when you analyze them, you see there's not a lot there. First Contact said that it took Lily 6 months to gather enough titanium to build the cockpit. Yes, I recognize that, but I could have swore she talked about designing the warp drive with him. Maybe I'm just stupid. Maybe I just don't remember, Lily was there to be common sense. Also, we're talking about people who didn't know what a splint was. That is fair. Mariah has a point. We're talking about people who don't know how to utilize a splint, including the medical professionals. So, yeah, that's fair. You could also argue Lily is a foil to Picard, showing that all of the failures' lofty evolved values don't exempt them from feelings of rage and vengeance. The thing is once they started doing the TNG movies, and DS9, they really lost a lot of what the original series was trying to say. And I think you had to do that for the audience then. Just like I think that Discovery and the Picard... What's going on, Rogue Tripper? It's Discovery and the Picard show, you have to accept what current audiences want. So I don't think that what we saw in the original series or even the Next Generation could have survived without them going the way that they did. A lot of people would argue with that, but I disagree. So to have action movies, you do have to have some form of hatred or anger or even want vengeance, especially utilizing the tropes of the time. So the actual, we no longer know hatred or pain or anger or vengeance or anything like that is gone. And there's no real good way to do the original series the way they looked at it. Welcome back, sir, as they say. What's going on, Edris Ahmed? Since the movie tried to appeal to a wider audience, they needed Lily as the character that everything is explained to. Yeah, but she comes in halfway through. She gets on the Enterprise halfway through. And I don't know. I don't think she's a good point of view character because she's a side character at best. I don't know. For example, Picard explained the holodeck to her wouldn't work with any characters from the Enterprise, only to someone from the past, and it needed to be explained to a wider audience. You didn't need Lily for that. You could have done that and actually addressed some of the plot issues there. If she had planned it with the others, saying let's use the holodeck to draw some of the Borg in, and they said, well, it's just holograms, and then he explains how they take the safeties off and stuff. You could have done it without her. I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe she could have been used, but if they wanted to use her as a point of view or a reference character, I think it was done pretty poorly. Mentioning the moon landing, have you seen the Doctor Who episode Day of the Moon? Is that the one with the water and the fixed point in time? Because I have. No, I haven't. That's not. I don't know that I've seen that one then. I don't think I have, in fact. No, maybe I have. I don't know. It's been a while. Surak was Vulcan Jesus, but Suran was Vulcan Jesus, but we never hear about his core followers that help spread logic. You guys can keep bringing that up. I've already stated, okay, fine. You win on that one, but just that one. You don't win on any more others. That's the only one I'm going to let you have. For now, good friends. Beverly and Worf are too close to him, and no one else on the bridge had the balls to tell the captain that he was overstepped. There's no way. No, I'm sorry, Nathan. I don't accept that. I simply don't. We're talking about the fate of Starfleet. We're talking about the fate of all of the crew on the Enterprise. We're talking about if they lose big. I'm sorry. Beverly is not too close for him that. Worf is sure as hell not too close to him for that. And all the others on the crew, you're telling me they're scared to tell him and lose everyone they've ever known and ever loved? No one should have followed any of his orders past that. There should have been a mutiny to the nines. Every one of them had to hold a stupid stick for that to work. Hontus, you're seeing why they would not give Lily more credit to quite a bit of the audience. The notion one like her might have actually done something is unthinkable. Yeah, so that can be a side conversation to it, that everybody was racist, I guess. I don't accept that necessarily. I do think people would have gotten upset about it, not as much as we see today. But I do think people would have been like, oh, look what they're doing, or something like that. I can't see everybody being like, oh my God, that'll never happen. Could you imagine Sisko being in command of the Defiant for the film? Sisko and Picard bouncing off each other? Yeah, I think that would have made a lot... better of a movie. And I know Anti-Trekker put something together. I've always wanted to do a rewrite. I just never have done it because there's a lot of work to it. I think that the Defiant should have come, and instead of it just being Worf, I think that a large majority of the Defiant's crew should have been on the Defiant, and that when they saved it, you had Cisco, you had Kira, you had Worf, maybe not Odo, I don't know, but you had a large majority of them, and then all of the crew could have bounced off each other. Again, Cisco and Picard going at it, especially when Picard wants to stay and fight, and you have Cisco wanting to retreat. How interesting. How much of a juxtaposition is that? How great could that have been? You had Picard saying, no, we're going to stay here and fight, and we're going to kill him with whatever it takes. And Cisco is the one saying, no, we got to back off. We got to run. That is such opposite of the characters that I think it would have been really, really interesting. And then you have Kira there who plays off Riker. They could go head to head. Bashir and Beverly put together to try to find a way. I don't know. Or Jadzia. I understand how it works. I understand how money is a problem, but I don't know. It would have been fun. I love how you often talk about your editor. Without them, you would not have a channel. I am an SJW for vacations. That is true. They fear, Huntus, they fear the racist in the audience. They make a lot of noise. Most people wouldn't care, I hope. But quite a few, oh, she's a Mary Sue. At that time, I don't think it would have been as bad. Maybe I'm wrong, Huntus Farmer. And now I think they would go out of their way to do it. I think they look for that fight. It is possible that social norms or social concerns would have caused that, though. I mean, I can grant that. They needed Odo to turn into a 21st century bar stool. They did. Cisco going to head with Picard would be awesome, especially since Cisco hated Picard. Riker would have banged Kira, maybe. I really, the more I think about it, the more I would have loved to have a Cisco as a foil to Picard. If I wrote it, and I may put this together, if I wrote it, I would definitely write it so that Cisco, that the characters would have to fight of the opposite of what they're known for, because I think that would have been an interesting point. I think that would have been, and I could honestly see both characters doing that. And I did read what you were saying, SC, about the reset and the PTSD, but if we are going to give him PTSD, if we are going to go through that plot point and finally bring it to a head, then I do think you could write something that would make sense where Picard would want to do something suicidal and Cisco realizes that you can't, there's sometimes you lose, and you can do all of the right things and still lose, and it'd be very human, In universe, though, it is out of character for the United States not to mention her and everyone else at some point. Yeah, so that was my original point, getting it back to Lily. Even past this movie, they always only bring up Zefram Cochrane, even in the Discovery era. And when I originally watched it, I'm just going to have to rewatch it, because I could have sworn she helped build the actual warp drive itself. And if she did, I think that's a disservice to the character. Will you be seeing The Rise of the Skywalker? I will. I'll be seeing it on the 19th. I have already got tickets for Cindercat and myself to go see it. Big question. If Cisco is involved, will the Prophets give him visions or something? The Prophets will probably be there personally. Picard already solved his issues in the Borg in a few TNG episodes. Cisco, on the other hand, should be the one still with the PTSD and irrational hatred of the all Borg. The thing about Cisco, I think, because he got over it too, the Prophets forced him to get over it. The thing about Cisco is that he generally, he will push as far as he can push, and even go out of his way to maybe tempt fate, if you will. But I don't think he's an idiot. I think if the cards say that if he loses it all, that he's much less likely. Unless his back's against a wall. And I don't think your back's against a wall if you can retreat and blow the Borg to holy hell. Picard already... we already talked about that. Differences between Picard and Cisco. The Borg destroys Picard's life. He stands in his office drinking Earl Grey. The Borg destroys Cisco's life, and after fuming at them, after after he fumes at them from an escape pod. He also then goes to create a ship designed to kill Borg. I too like SF debris. From dialogue, we can infer she built the hull. She told Picard that she was the one who was responsible for collecting titanium. Yeah, maybe that's all she did to it. If she did, then I guess I get it. I think the biggest difference between Sisko and Picard would be that Sisko would be willing to blow up the Enterprise if it meant killing the Borg. I agree, too. That's my thing. The way he's written, he has to be shown. I do think that that Sisko just is no fool. I don't think Picard's a fool either, but if you're going to make him give him this weakness, then I guess I can understand it. Hontus Farmer, I don't know why it didn't. Oh, there it is. Thank you so much for the support. Here's some of my meager money. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too. Just so you guys know, I am actually doing this and live streaming every other day on weekdays for you guys specifically. I'm trying to do it so I can make it an all-day event. I'm getting myself there. I'm doing more every time. The only way I can do that is if I at least make as much as I would on an upload, and it's because of support like you guys that I'm able to do that. So thank you so much. It's not PTSD. Remember, he was in the loop right there with the Queen. He knew what the grand plans were. He could still hear her thoughts. No, he specifically went through post-traumatic stress syndrome. They went out of their way to make it that. You can argue if it was deserved or not, but Sisko, Mama didn't raise no fool. Defiant's original name was Bad Mother Trucker. Yeah, it was. It was indeed. By the way, guys, I am going to be cutting it off in about 15 minutes or so because I got to go pick up the kids. But I still wanted to have a conversation and be here with you guys. Don't forget, 81 people watching, only 53 likes. Come on, hit that button. I wonder, Picard used a Thompson submachine gun to kill 2 Borg, and Worf used a short sword to kill another. Are projectiles and melee weapons better than killing them with energy weapons? So here's the thing I always assumed. But you're right. First Contact kind of makes you question it. And even a DS9 episode where they have a transporting bullet, that kind of makes you question it as well. The Borg have all kinds of armor on them. So I would assume that armor does have some specific purpose, maybe to protect against bullets and such. However, it does seem like melee weapons and bullets do wonders against the Borg, which makes me wonder if they have advanced so far that the only species they fight use energy weapons, and so you actually have to regress to fight them. Which reminds me of like an X-Men episode where, what was his name? Wolverine was fighting this advanced race that could take out anything. And so he had to get in a ice cream plane that was so cold that it didn't pick up on sensors, that they had to regress that far. I don't know. They only went warp 1, and dilithium wasn't discovered yet. I personally think they somehow used the warhead to create a burst of warp 1 energy, but that's unlikely. Yeah, I mean, in theory, you could do it through fusion. It was a nuclear warp core. I just don't think you'd have enough power. That has to be the explanation. It has to be created through fusion, unless the Sovereign, the Enterprise F, gave it to him, or Enterprise E gave it to him. When O'Brien was put into a mind prison and he killed a fictional person, he wanted to die because he wasn't able to live up to that idea. Yeah, I know, Mariah. I'm well aware that Deep Space Nine completely destroys everything TNG claims. I'm right there with you. I actually like DS9's interpretation more than I like TNG's. But yes, I'm right there with you. Jerome Allen, love your vids, Laura. Keep up the amazing work. My vids love you, Jerome. My vids love you. Wait, what? That doesn't even make any sense. Sisko would paint the hull with Riker's face, which would be cathartic for Sisko because Tom Riker stole his ship. I don't know about all that. I don't know about that. That doesn't seem right. Axamamon and Mislav, hey, I went live for you guys. As I said, I want to do a live all day, like 8 hours worth of being live, but I am not the lore runner, so I don't know how feasible, I guess, it is. So, yeah. Cisco, we already talked about. Personal force field mentioned, but we never really saw them. Personal force fields were mentioned not only in DS9, but I think we saw them in TNG too, once or twice. Force fields, you think, would be able to also resist being assimilated, but I don't know. I think in Voyager maybe they talked about how to get past. There's a lot to it. Is it like the Asgard using SG-1 to fight the replicators? They said they were no longer able to think so primitively and use projectile weapons. I mean, it could be, yeah. You can definitely go to warp with fusion power only. It just won't last long. It takes a ton of power. It's unreasonable. We can't even create the power that the Earth isn't able. From my understanding, if I remember right, all of the power on Earth, if we put our resources together and we combined all of the power that we could do on Earth, we wouldn't be able to get to warp. It's a stupid amount of power that they say is needed. In the animated series, they had personal force fields that they used as spacesuits. Yep, they even carried those things that were on the belt buckle. They carried that into one of the movies too, I believe. Yeah, the interesting thing, going off topic for a second, 8 hours in the words of Dude Labrowski, that sounds exhausting. Believe it or not, being live on stream isn't the easiest thing on Earth, and it takes a toll on you. It honest to God does. People think that it's stupid easy. I have a lot of respect for people who don't do uploads and simply aren't online all the time. I honestly have a lot of respect for you. I think there's a lot more to it. I don't think you understand until you have to sit here and do it. Vulcans have sex every 7 years. They call it pon farr. On Earth, we call it being married. That's horrible, Lee Johnstone. But it's truthful, which is why you should never go with what culture decides. You say being monogamy is horrible. Let's continue on. We saw them in TNG as energy plates. Then later on, it evolved, and they had the green, murky energy over the torso. Yep. And again, they brought it into the movies as well. You never saw the force fields, but it was on the belt. It's strange that in Star Trek Voyager Dark Frontier, the Borg sent 4 ships to assimilate a single planet, but they only used 1 ship after Earth. So there's a couple of things about that. I've always had a few theories. I have always thought that the reasoning for that may have been at the power level or abilities of the planet. We never really understood how powerful that ship was. And also, you have to question what they're going for with Earth. I don't know that they're strictly trying to assimilate Earth. I have a video on that. I am powered by Philly cheesesteaks. That is true. That is true. Mr. President, we've been preparing for something like this for a long time. We have stockpiles of phaser rifles, personal force fields, and photon grenades. I know. I said it was in DS9, and I also mentioned that it may be in TNG. I believe it is, and maybe Voyager, too. I'm not disagreeing with you, Dan. Someone was asking me about Alcubierre engines. I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'm not aware of that. Warp is mostly accomplished by creating a warp bubble around the ship and traveling through subspace, therefore bypass some of those energy needs. And Epstein didn't kill him. Epstein did not kill himself. That is true. But the thing is creating that warp bubble and maintaining that warp bubble, it takes a huge amount of power. Well, Portnov, you should talk her into an open relationship. Trust me, both of you will be better for it. Laura, what if you do lives, but in 3 2-hour segments with a comfortable break in between might be an easier way? Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying. So what happens is that I'll do like an hour, 2 hours, whatever, 3 hours. Then I'll take a break and I will, something will happen and I'm not able to come back. And I want to come back, but I'll get hit with something. One of the reasons this is a little tougher. Another piece to that is, believe it or not, while these are popular, every time I do it, I take a hit to my subscriber base. Like, people will just unsub like crazy because of it, which isn't, it's interesting to me. It's not going to deter me necessarily, but so doing it 3 times means I take a bit of a hit, you know? By the way, thank you so much for the support. You can also send PayPal versus paypal.me/Reloaded Studios. So let me go ahead and add that real quick, though I'll be getting off in just a moment. PayPal doesn't show up yet. I'm still trying to get my overlay working. I just suck at it. It's done by Stream Elements. I know they'll help me if I actually ask them, but I'm just... So busy. Believe it or not, being an entertainer is one of the most busy things that you can do. It's so incredibly, there's just so much to it. People think that all you have to do is just make a video or do whatever. I mean, you guys don't care about my life or my problems, though, right? So there we go. Thank you so much. Oh, I guess I can't do that, so we'll do that. Thank you guys so much. I sincerely appreciate it. That should have updated. Yeah, it did. Again, thank you guys. So what Bison Hawk just said, by the way, I don't necessarily have an issue with, but that one is definitely a case by case basis. It's cool that you hit it. I don't have a problem with that, but just so you know, maybe. Hontus Farmer, you out? Talk to you later, buddy. Thanks. So you can find out about it on YouTube, guys, if you like. What are we finding out about Hontus? Real life warp drive thought by Professor Miguel Alcubierre of the Autonomous. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that. I'll put that down. Cryptic cares about my life. You should figure out donate a Jimmy John's cheesesteak. I should. All right, hold on. We'll do this. Hold on. You guys ready? Hold on. We're gonna do this. This is the top tier content. Hello. Hey, we're live right now, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Can I have a Philly cheesesteak tomorrow?
Sure.
Okay. That's why I'm calling you. That's all they care about. I keep getting asked about Philly cheesesteaks, so that's it. That's all I am.
I delivered last time.
I know you did.
It for you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you did get it for me, didn't you? All right. Well, you want to get it for me tomorrow too, right? My Philly cheesesteak?
If you're a good boy.
I can't wait for that delicious Philly cheesesteak. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
I was making a reference to sex. See ya. Order me one. Also, Kenneth Gorman also wants one. 7 also wore a cat suit. That in of itself was pure magic. Just got done watching Space and Beyond, the entire series. Oh, you should have liked it. Did you like it, Cedric? Above and Beyond is really a good series. I'm probably one day going to do a review on it once I get done with Robotech and another Babylon 5 series and everything else I've promised and haven't done yet. Sometimes 7 of 9 could walk through force fields. That would be due to her Borg implants, which also allowed her to walk through force fields. It is really interesting when you compare the Federation and the when you consider not the Federation, when you consider the Borg and the Dominion, all of the things that they shared. Would you not agree that Shrog from Quake are also inspired by the Borg? They may have. I've never had a Philly cheesesteak, and I've never been to White Castle. I'm British. Yep. You are British, unfortunately. You also can't say half of the things we can say. So, indeed. If holographic bullets can kill Borg, they should install holo emitters on all the... Yeah, I mean, they did that, though. You know? They did that with the Prometheus, and they did that with other ships. Honestly, that's the ultimate... So, holographic material is the ultimate defense against anything. If someone comes on to your ship and they decide to try to attack or whatever, wherever they are, just create a holographic line of lasers that just completely destroy everything. Or whatever you want. Just create holograms and turn the safeties off and let God sort it out in the end. Remember, people, smash that like button. That's right. Don't abuse emoji use. I assume she knows how you take your cheesesteak. Seems awfully casual at your local eater. Oh, trust me. Cindercat knows how I like my cheesesteak. She's on it. I think that Space Above and Beyond, even though it absolutely killed when it comes up to when it comes to ratings and everything, was just too expensive. They weren't making money off of it. Will the Discovery crew go back in time to 2020? They won't. They will stay where they need to be. They don't ever need to go back in time. Ever. The Borg adapt on an as-needed basis. They will adapt to that as well. I think it'd be pretty hard to adapt to molten lava. I mean, maybe, but adapting to molten lava seems like a pretty big issue. Factual opinion, thank you so much. Guys, this is how I keep the lights on and how I do multiple live streams in a day. So thank you so much. Going to do Crusade next, Space Above and Beyond. I don't think I've watched Crusade. Crusade? Oh. Those ships were just expensive drones. They had some jerk in command programming on a mission and sending it off to do it. That is indeed true. You appreciate a good... I'm not saying that. You almost got me, Couragers, but I'm not saying that. But yeah, I do. The like button is now broken since it hits... Oh, man, y'all are horrible. The money issue... But I love it. Keep doing it. The money issue was the same reason that the original BSG was... I didn't know that about the original Battlestar Galactica. Well, I love you, Audrey's. I love you. I do. Babylon 5 is better than what? What are we talking about? I don't think Babylon 5... When it comes to Space Above and Beyond, I think they're both good for different reasons, honestly. When the Borg drone grabbed one of the holograms and scanned him and the red beam as image was disrupted. Sure. That is interesting that they didn't notice or recognize a hologram as soon as they saw him. It was a funny piece, though. The Mandalorian gets lots of love as Discovery continues to get hate, except Pike's show. I think Picard will probably be okay. I really do. I don't know. I think Picard is going to do decent as long as they don't get too stupid with it. Section 31... I really don't know, especially since it's going to be a comedy. I don't know how I feel about that. Actually, Battlestar Galactica, it is cheesy, but for the time, it was appropriate for the show. You'll see a lot of stuff during that time that was like Battlestar Galactica, the original. So I don't think it was necessarily too cheesy. In fact, I think it was pretty inspiring. I could be wrong, but I think the original Babylon 5... is not Babylon 5, I'm sorry. Battlestar Galactica. Not Babylon 5, Battlestar Galactica. Babylon 5 was cheesy? I confused myself. Babylon 5 is not cheesy. Battlestar Galactica, the original, was, but for the time, that's what they wanted. Why are they whitewashing characters now when they had a chance in the JJ-verse? Didn't they do that in the JJ-verse? As long as Seven puts on the cats... Bad person. Monday game with Lore Reloaded. Quote from the new side character, Red Shirt Breen. Brooke? Yeah, we should have a Red Shirt Breen. That'd be hilarious. For those who don't know, I actually run a Star Trek Adventures, an RPG game with Ketwalski, Jesse Gender, and the one and only Lore Runner. And we're going to start having people on to play. I hope Picard doesn't rely on sentimental stuff too much and has the courage to do something new. I think they are. I don't know that we're going to like it. Again, they're going away from Starfleet, which is one of the first... That is the first time we've ever seen it. What's going on, Ronnie? And so I don't know how that's going to go. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. The only issue I'm having with what we have seen from Picard trailer is that the Romulans are back to looking like Vulcans and not TNG Romulans. I haven't noticed a huge difference. How is Andromeda? Never got around to watching that show. The first season was really good. Once they changed the original writer or producer, I think it was the writer. Once they changed the original writer, it went to hell. I don't think it did good. Though he actually wrote how he would have ended it, and it's excellent. What I would suggest doing is find out when he stopped writing for the show. Watch the season up till he stopped writing, and then watch the prologue that he made. He made like this, I forget what it was called, but he made this epic thing of how he would have finished it, and you see where he was going, and you see all of the pre-planning that was going into it. Oh, it would have been excellent. All right, guys, I gotta go pick up my kids, and I gotta go look into getting me some of that delicious Philly cheesesteak. Because if there's one thing I like, it is luscious Philly cheesesteak. So, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. I may come back on. I may not. Because I will be getting my Philly cheesesteak tomorrow. I have to finish the video today. So, I don't know. We'll see. I definitely want to do this 8 hours though. So Mondays and Thursday, or I'm sorry, Tuesdays and Thursdays is when I do these live streams. So be on the watch out. Be on the lookout. Hit the little bell button to make sure that you get the notification. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Guys, I'm going to see you on the next Lore Reloaded. Star Trek Discovery has always been canon, by the way. Always, until the IP holders say otherwise, it always will be canon, unfortunately. I'm not a huge fan of that myself. Next live stream, if there's not another one done today, it'll be next Tuesday. Be next Tuesday around 8 to 10 p.m. Central, or 8 to 10 a.m. Central Standard Time on Tuesdays and Thursdays is when I first start. Oh no, I don't Uber my Philly cheesesteaks. I go straight to the source.